Knows Best.
Hi, friends, and welcome back to Brenna Knows Best. I'm your host, Brenna Berg. Hi, how are you guys? Happy Monday. Hi, let's get into the stories. The first story, okay, is a write-in. This is from one of you, and I'm so excited. And on the surface, it seems like pretty basic, but then we get into the details and it gets a little crazy. I was gonna read it last Friday on that episode, just like our catch-up episode, and then I started reading it and I was like, holy shit, let me actually save this for Monday. So let's begin. Okay, she did say, however, I apologize in advance for any grammar mistakes as it's not my first language, right? So please beware. There's a lot of relationship drama in all of this and it's just the surface, so let's not get into it too much. I've changed names to keep it private. Okay. Am I a bitch for wanting my boyfriend to give up his dog to his ex? A little background. I've been with my boyfriend for a year and a half. We are in a very healthy relationship. We communicate very well, even during very hard conversations, and we have made each other better people. He is the type of man that shows up on a random Tuesday with flowers and a love letter that tells me every day I'm the most beautiful thing he's ever seen. And then in parentheses, she has, I look like a potato. That shows love in private and in public. He's just all over me all the time, and he's an amazing friend to my friends. My parents absolutely love him and can't believe that he chose me. I know, right? Wonder why I've been in therapy since I left my parents' house. LOL. Okay. He's basically a very healthy and secure man, and I love him with my life. I appreciate everything he does, and he makes it natural for me wanting to provide him with everything I can. He even moved away from his hometown to come live with me hours away, and we love it here. But he shares a dog with his ex. Oh my gosh. Wait, that's already juicy. I've never known anybody in real life that has shared a dog with an ex, but I have seen this conversation on social media and I know that it happens. And on one hand, like, here's the thing though, I own May Dog and I had her before I met my partner, but we are now engaged and like we would not break up. But like, let's say in a different fucking universe, we break up. I'm keeping the dog because she was mine. Like, I would not share my dog, but for my partner that would be so hard. Like, if you are in a relationship and you get a dog with that person, yeah, what do you do? And that's something you need to think about when you get the dog, because sharing a dog, like treating it as if it's a child, is kind of crazy. Like, I don't agree with that. I think somebody should take the dog, but you should have thought about that and agreed upon that beforehand, because that gets messy. But there's way more to the story, so let's keep going. Now, before we get deep into it, I have to explain my experience before him. I was in a wrong 8-year relationship with a man, and it was so wrong that I couldn't get all the love I needed that I introduced a third person into the relationship, a woman, which I truly loved while in the relationship. We were a throuple. We left on good terms and I respected them and still kind of do. When I left the relationship, I realized that's not for me. I want one person, man or woman, that gives me all I need, and that's my Ben. Okay. Having said that, in my previous relationship, the three of us adopted a dog. Let's call him Teddy. And after the breakup, my ex-girlfriend used him to make me feel like crap. They wanted to keep him 1 versus 2. I couldn't win. Plus, I felt guilty for destroying the relationship and leaving. And sometimes I'd help them and take him for a walk when they were struggling with long shifts, etc. But then if I was the one having a hard time and wanted to have him for a day or two, she'd say no. I reached the boiling point when she texted me with a list of weeks they needed me to watch Teddy because they were going on a holiday, to which I lost my mind because I wasn't allowed to have him for a night every now and then. But then you want me to cover 5 weeks of holidays for your needs? Consider I was struggling with going to our house, mine and his house that we bought, and she was living in it with him for free to pick up Teddy as I struggled with the memories that the house brought. Every time I had to leave him, I'd be in absolute tears, and she hated me for crying for Teddy because I didn't cry when I left them. I did cry for months prior to the breakup. When I broke up, I had no tears left. I confronted her and told her either he's staying with me or with you. We cannot share him anymore and I can't take it. It was a big fight, but again, 2 versus 1, she kept the dog. It broke me, but it was a fresh start. Bear in mind, me and her work in the same department, so we do see each other every now and then in the coffee room. Holy fuck, that is a lot. Okay, so there was a throuple. They got a dog together. She ended the relationship. Those two stayed together. They lived together. They have the dog, but they use this girl to watch their dog whenever they want. And she has to go back to the house that she lived in with her ex. That's the thing. Like, throuple or not, if you're in a relationship and you're sharing a dog, like, it's just so unnecessary, and there's so many wounds that can't heal when you're constantly reminded of your ex. It's like why I recommend no contact with or without a fucking dog. Like, if you break up, you need to go no contact. Like, when you're in contact, you're just like keeping things open, and I don't think you can fully heal while you talk to your ex. And like, if you share a dog with that person, like, what the fuck? And also, how disrespectful to the next person. That's the other reason why I think no contact should be a thing in general, but especially with the dog. Like, that's so messy. And I understand the dog situation, but that's why you should have thought about that when you got a dog together. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Months pass, they get married, and a couple of months later, my boyfriend with his dog were moving down to come live with me. So I was trying to find a dog walker. I had asked a friend I had in common with my ex-girlfriend if dog walker X was still walking Teddy, as I didn't want Max to be walked together with Teddy. Max is her now boyfriend's dog. I just wanted to stay away from any drama. And my friend, bless her, gave me such a look, and I had to push to tell me what's happening. And she explained they had to put him down because they were struggling to look after him and tried to rehome him, but nobody would take him because he was aggressive and dangerous to her newborn niece. Oh my gosh, wait, I didn't get this far into it. They put him down. She couldn't believe I didn't know. I was, of course, in shock and could not believe it. Why didn't they tell me, look, we're struggling. Do you want to give him a chance? Bear in mind, he was an angel all the time he was with me. I had friends with other dogs come to the house, and he was friendly and sharing his toys. Same when going on walks, he'd be off lead, and I've never had issues, so I struggled to believe what she was telling me. Maybe he had changed. That's possible, as he had health issues. He had surgeries a couple of times when we were together, and maybe he developed something I was unaware of, but why would they have kept that secret from me? Oh my gosh. Oh, I can't handle that right now. I'm like about to get my period. I will cry. Why not give me a chance to look after him since they were trying to rehome him, or even a chance to say goodbye? I'm more disappointed in him than her, to be honest. Me and him grew up together for decades, left our home country together, sacrificed so much for us, but he always stayed out of these conversations, never going against her even when she was clearly in the wrong. Reason he isn't my man anymore. Not a chance I'd marry someone that doesn't stand his ground when it comes to such delicate stuff. When I got out of that relationship, I realized how manipulative she was with me and is now with him. To this day, I truly believe she took Teddy from me, not because she wanted him, but simply to hurt me. She could have told me at work or even a text to meet up. I've always been super friendly with them. That was roughly a year ago. That is actually insane. They tried to rehome them. I literally just talked about going no contact, but like, when it comes to putting down an animal, the least you could have done was ask the previous owner, somebody you know that loved that fucking dog, if they would take them. Oh my gosh, that is so terrible. And I bet she's absolutely right. The girl only wanted to hurt her. She didn't want that dog, and that's probably why they put him down. Oh my God, that's so sad. Okay, we need to keep moving because that's so freaking sad. Since Ben moved down here around a year ago, he's been sharing his dog with his ex. They have him for 4 to 6 weeks each, but because he's the one that moved away, we're the only ones doing all of the traveling, 5 to 6 hours every 4 to 6 weeks. She won't even come halfway, not even when she comes to visit her dad, who lives near where me and Ben are now. In addition to this, I work 3 long shifts a week, so I spend 2 days during the week taking him on walks, 2-hour walks, including swimming, etc., as he's a Labrador. I love it, but it is time consuming. Then on the weekends, we walk him together and do everything together, chores, etc. Ben rarely sees Max. Max is getting a lot more attached to me because I'm the one spending most of the time with him. I've been voicing to Ben that spending an entire day of our weekend every month to drop him off or pick him up, it's become unbearable, and we cannot do this for years and years. They have to come to a decision, and he either stays with us or with her, especially since she's been so protective over him and made it very clear she won't give him up. She says the exact same things my ex used to tell me. Same ex that tried to kiss me in the changing rooms, so I still believe his ex is trying to just get to him because he's moved on and her only weapon is Max. I love Max, but I'm trying not to get too attached because I'm just seeing in his ex-girlfriend what my ex-girlfriend did to me, and I cannot go through that pain again. Regardless of if she is trying to keep attached to your boyfriend now or not, it's just like the logistics of it. The fact that you guys drive 4 to 5 hours every month to get this dog, and then like you both work and you're saying that your boyfriend barely sees the dog. Like, what incentive does he have to keep the dog? I get it, you love him, but that's also part of the breakup. You're breaking up with the dog, unfortunately, and that fucking sucks and it's gonna hurt, but like you already go 4 to 6 weeks without seeing, like, I'm sorry, this is just something that has to happen. I think, yeah. Here is the thing though, if he is like attached to this dog and doesn't want to, that's fine. But I think then this girl needs to break up with him. Like, I don't think it's correct of her to like make him get rid of the dog. I think voicing your opinions and concerns and saying why it's fucking crazy and stupid to share a dog with your ex, because why would you share a dog with your ex, especially in this circumstance when you live so far away? I think she can voice that, and I think she's 100% valid. I'm agreeing with her, but he either will agree or won't agree, and like that's a scary situation because I don't think she should put up with that either. Like, it's just exhausting. Like, you guys can get your own dog, and I understand you have a relationship with it, but like, what are we talking about? You really want to drive 5 to 6 hours every weekend or one weekend a month to have him for 4 to 6 weeks and then drive him back and so on and so forth? That's no way to live. I'm sorry. You just got to break up with the dog. Ben sometimes tells me he misses him, and other times he tells me he feels so free without him. He loves taking me on dates on a random weekday after work, and you can't do that when your dog has been waiting to see you all day. Before people come at us, he has a wonderful dog walker, and he's out with his friends for 3 to 4 hours every day when both of us are at work. I try to approach the conversation very delicately every time, but I feel like I'm being not direct enough, and he's not getting the message that I'm done. I don't know how to tell him, why are we keeping him when you barely see him and sometimes are even grateful that he's gone, while she's desperate to have him all of the time. She does not stop texting him asking for pictures, but sometimes it's just an excuse to talk to him, as he showed me texts that said, "I'm sorry, I can't stop texting you," and she's talking alone as he wouldn't reply. He eventually had to put boundaries on saying we only text when it's about Max and it's needed. That's never needed. Like, it's a dog. What do you mean? I even feel this way about like co-parenting, which if a baby is really small and there's like things that maybe, you know, a single mother is giving it to the dad, but it's like, for example, because I was raised with divorced parents from a really young age, when you give the child off to the other parent, they have the child. Now, if something happened and they reached out or they needed to know, or like somebody didn't know a medication or something, but like that is unfortunately part of divorce. Like, I know there's a relationship in my family where it's like required that the partner send updates 24/7. And it's like, I get it. And that's unfortunate that you guys aren't together and you miss your child. But like, this is what happens. And this is why you need to choose so wisely who you have a child with. I'm getting off track, but like, you need to text about the dog. No, you fucking don't. She just wants to text you. You know what I mean? Shut the fuck up. I understand that he would miss him. So would I. He cuddles me all the time, but it's not enough reason, in my opinion. Max is unfortunately some sort of child of divorce, and it just doesn't make sense that the stepmother is the one spending the most time with him. I don't know how to tell him I want him gone because it's just creating friction in the relationship, as he's very needy. And when I'm talking to Ben, he'll get in between. He'll cry when we close the door to have alone time. I'm growing a lot of resentment, and also the time-consuming role of having to travel for so many hours every month to drop him off or pick him up. Bear in mind, I work on call 1 to 2 weekends a month, so also 1 weekend to travel him up and down. It means I only have 1 weekend to truly relax. I need someone from the outside to see it and be brutally honest. Am I a bitch for wanting him to cut ties with his ex-girlfriend and give Max back to her and cut all contact? And what words could I use? Thank you, my dear. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for writing in. I 1000% side with you. Like, without a shadow of a doubt in my mind, it's too much. It's too time consuming. You're the one doing the work, which is fucking crazy. And that's like even something you should think about when getting a dog in general. If anybody's out there and you're in a partnership, you're married, I don't care, and you're getting a dog, I think you need to be very clear on who's doing what, who's taking them out, who's doing the laundry. Hello, dogs don't have laundry. Who's feeding him? Who's, potty and vet and this and that. And especially if this is not your dog, this is the dog that your partner shares with your ex. I think what you do is you sit down, and I know a lot of people who have a hard time being direct in conversations, and I used to be this way too. I would write in your notes app the topics and the points that you want to make just to keep you on track. Obviously, don't sit there and read off of the notes app, but I would sit your partner down and explain your feelings on it, how you think it affects him, the dynamic with the ex. Like, there's so many things at play here. It's like the dog. God bless, we love Max. Who doesn't love a dog? But you guys are no longer together. I don't know how old Max is. Let's say Max is even 5 years old. We're going to do this for another 6-7 years. I don't know how long they live, but like, what are you talking about? You live 5 to 6 hours away from this person. It's too much. It's far too much. And he's not even the one taking care of the dog. I would also, I never want to give an ultimatum or threaten. I guess he moved down to live with you, but it's like, if you guys broke up, what would he do? How would he take care of the dog? I guess he has the dog walker and you bored him or whatever, but it's like, what is the reason when you're only spending a couple of hours, not even an hour or two a day before you go to bed for a month, and then you give the dog off? It's just like, this is fucking stupid. Sharing a dog, co-parenting with your ex over a dog is dumb as fuck. The dog is part of the breakup and somebody gets it, and that just needs to be decided and over with. And she clearly will not give him up, and I think it just makes sense. And I would just explain all of the reasons, the time consumingness, the fact that you're doing it, the weekend, it's just crazy. And maybe he's never thought of it. And I imagine that when they broke up, it's something that you got to figure out, and this is what they decided. But what's done is done. And then also, when that dog goes back to her forever, he needs to cut contact with the ex, because she is definitely using the dog as a little pawn in her game. I have no doubt in my mind about that. She might really love the dog, but then why hasn't she said, I'm keeping the fucking dog? For example, if I had, owned May with the partner and we broke up, I'm keeping that dog. That is it. That is final. And you will cry and your boyfriend will be sad. I'm sure there will be times that he misses him, But again, it's similar to an ex. It's like you break up with an ex. Of course, there are moments you're sad, but it's like it's for the best. I know the dog didn't do anything wrong. I know the dog didn't break your heart, but it's like it's part of the ex, and one of you just needs to take him. That is it. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think really you can voice this however you want. You just need to sit down and explain that. And I think he'll understand. And I think he'll agree. I'm sure at first, like anybody would be resistant. Like if I had a dog with a partner and they took him, I'd be like, no, I'm not giving up my dog. But like if he has a second to like, kind of roll it over in his head, I think anybody with like a normal brain would be like, yeah, she's right, actually. Like this isn't serving me as much as I love this dog. It's way more of an inconvenience, unfortunately, and that's just the reality. And like it's sad, I get it, I'm a fucking dog lover, but it's not worth it in my opinion. So I believe in you. Have the conversation, and if he's not willing, I think you need to take a good hard look at that, and either you break up or you say, I'm done like going with you to go get him, which sucks, but you have to create boundaries so you don't take it out on him. Or if it's just something you can't live with, I say break up. Like if you don't want to deal with, if Carter was sharing a dog with his ex when I met him and we were doing this, I'd be like, I can't do that. Like that would be a boundary of mine. The fact that you're in communication with the ex, she's texting all the time, like that is just like too much to me over a fucking dog. No, that's just a boundary that I would have. So it's either get rid of the dog, and you're not getting rid of it. It's just like, again, it was part of the breakup, or I'm out of here. It's just simply a boundary, and I don't think that it's that fucking crazy. Or you stay with him because he sounds like a really great partner, but you just like take a step back. Be like, this weekend takes one of my 2 weekends I have a month, and I don't want to drive up here to see your ex-girlfriend and exchange the dog. And I think also again, we shouldn't have to like teach men that like this is what it's like when I don't help you, but if you stepped back from your roles helping with the dog, he would see actually what that entails, and he will think twice about it. I think sometimes men don't realize how much we do in certain instances. Like I don't think he might realize like how much you're helping out. He does, but until it gets fully put on him and he's the one driving 5 to 6 hours to go get the dog and back without you, like he'll see it for what it is, and I think that would probably change his mind. You know what I mean? That's what I recommend, and keep us posted. I'm excited to hear more about this and how that conversation goes. Okay, next. Okay, y'all know I love these family dynamic ones. Okay, this one is, am I the asshole for choosing to walk down the aisle by myself after my mom said no to doing it? A couple of months ago, I, 27 female, asked my mom if she would walk me down the aisle when I get married later this year. My mom seemed surprised I would ask her, and after thinking it over for a minute, she told me she didn't feel comfortable doing it when the tradition is the bride and her father walk down the aisle. I told her that I understood. My mom can be traditional about some things, and I figured if that was one of them, then that was that. I only asked because my mom raised me and my brother, 29 male, alone for several years after our dad died when we were 6 and 8 years old. I felt like if I were to walk down with any living person, it would be her. I had, however, also debated walking alone before that, so when my mom said no, I decided to proceed with walking alone. My brother is my man of honor, so he'll be walking, just not walking me down the aisle. A few weeks go by, and my mom asked what I had decided to do when she wasn't walking me down the aisle. I told her I had decided to walk alone. My mom looked taken aback by this, and I asked her if that really surprised her. My mom brought up the fact that I had asked her, and I said yes, but she said no, and I had chosen to not walk with anyone. My stepdad asked why I could ask my mom, but not him. I told him that I had asked my mom because she has raised me my whole life, and after my dad died, she did an amazing job at helping helping me through the dark days. She kept a roof over our heads, food in our bellies, and she provided us with all the love, support, and guidance that we needed after such a big loss. He was like, that's all well and good, but what about me? I told him that I respected him as a man who made my mom happy after she'd been alone for some years, and I respect that he was willing to step up and be our new father, but that his role was not the same as my mom's, and even if he wanted to be, he had not become my new dad. My brother spoke up in that moment in support of me, and he told the two of them that they needed to drop it. Oh my gosh. I just think people need to mind their fucking business when it comes to step parents. Unless you've had a step parent, and even if you have, every single person's relationship with their step parent is different. Like I have told you guys a million times, my stepdad, he married my mom when I was 5. Like I don't remember really a time before him. He is still not a dad, not even close to a dad. I would never have him walk. I mean, he is deceased now. But let's say my dad passed and I was having a wedding. You've got to be fucking kidding me if you think he would step in as my dad. That's not my dad. And how disrespectful, in my opinion. But again, there are people out there that their real dad was trash and their stepdad was amazing and stepped up and actually was like a dad to them. And that's fine. And you can do that. But like these relationships are so delicate and so individual. And also, as the step parent, like that's kind of crazy that you were like demanding she treat you as her father. Like I just think that like if I were in those shoes, if I were him, like I'm not pushing that onto her. It's her wedding. It's her relationship with whoever the person is. Like she asked her mom because she loves her mom and her mom is her mom and like raised her. I don't think that's that fucking crazy. Let it go. Like I don't know. That's so pushy and weird to me. My mom said that it seemed very unfair to not give back to my stepdad in some way, that he always played second fiddle to dad in our lives, even though dad was already dead when we met our stepdad. She said traditionally the bride is given away by her father and dances with her father, and my brother then asked my mom if I was supposed to walk and dance with a photo of him or if we were going to get a cutout, or did she expect us to dig him up? Oh my God. She told him that that was enough, and we had another father right here alive who was desperate to be accepted as one. And again, these fucking old ass step parents, like you are grown adult. How do you not understand the nuance of it? How are your feelings hurt? Like I don't think that I can relate at all. And like I understand, let's say this man never had kids of his own and like he views them as his own. It's still like we each have a relationship with a person the way that we do, and it's not a dig at him. This was like that story we had a couple of weeks ago when the mother wanted to be like on the invite as mother when she just straight up wasn't, and their mom was deceased. It's like, how the fuck are you gonna like act like that? And how are your feelings hurt over just like a fact? And like, yes, tradition, which I think this is another piece of the puzzle. People who are really traditional and want things to be done the way that they're supposed to be for whatever fucking reason. But here's the thing, that's not her dad. I think that if traditions are supposed to be traditions, it says father of the bride. That is not her father biologically, scientifically, whatever way you want to, play that card. That's not her dad. So I don't think that follows the tradition, lady. Oh my gosh. My stepdad said that he felt like it was a cruel snub against him to ask my mom and then decide to walk alone without going to him. My mom said it was just common sense to ask him and not even ask her. They left soon after, and a few more days went by. I talked with my fiance about it, and he assured me I had done nothing wrong. I got the same assurances from my brother and sister-in-law, but my mom and stepdad were quick to tell me I was wrong, and my mom was upset that I had not not reached out after the dinner ordeal to ask her husband to walk me then. I have known my stepdad since I was 12. He married my mom when I was 13. So even though he was an adult figure when I still lived at home, I never saw him as a father figure. He was never dad. I always called him by his name. I don't even feel particularly close to him. Am I the asshole? No. I think that your mom and stepdad decided like that's what you should do and they think that's right without even considering for 1 second that number one, it's your wedding, but more importantly, your feelings. And I obviously agree, you are not the asshole, and thank God her fiance is standing by her and her brother. That is just so beyond me. These things bother me so much. And actually, I had another story, but I feel like I bore you guys with these ones. There was a girl, I'll just like briefly run over it. The title was, "My parents keep using money to control my life, and now they want control over my engagement." So basically, she's 24, her boyfriend's 26. She was raised Catholic. He is Christian. And correct me if I'm wrong, Catholics are like a part of Christianity, but Christianity is like the mother, like kind of the umbrella. Like there's Christianity and then like that breaks off into Catholic, Lutheran, Baptist. Am I wrong? Wait, those are denominations. Fuck, I never know how this goes. But like they're not that far off. Catholics are obviously a little bit more, I was going to say psycho. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but just like more strict. That's what my family is. Not my family. My mom is the youngest of 11 kids. Okay. She has 10 brothers and sisters. And my grandma, her mother, Gladys and George were from a small town and they were very Catholic. So, you know, Catholics, they don't believe in birth control, hence 11 fucking children. But my mom was raised very Catholic. Of course, she moved out right at 18 because she just hated it there. And she converted to Lutheran when she married my dad, but they aren't religious people. Like my dad also, I think, was raised slightly Catholic. Now that I mention that, I'm not sure. They just like, I think it was shoved down their throats and it's so strict. Like I have gone to Catholic church up in Candu, North Dakota, where my grandma is, because when we're up there for baptisms or for whatever, of course, grandma's going to church. So we're all going to church and they're the ones that like kneel and stand and kneel and stand. And it's just like very old fashioned and old school. And I'm sure maybe there are more modern ones now, but like a more strict religion, I would say, from like what I've gathered, because then I have gone to a Lutheran church, Lutheran, I don't know how you pronounce it, a few times as well, and it just is like a little bit more laid back in my opinion. Obviously everybody follows the Bible. Honestly, I'm the wrong person to talk about religion, but basically this story, let me read. Yes, my family is very Catholic, while my boyfriend, he is Christian but not Catholic. I was raised Catholic, so on and so forth. Well, basically, one time the guy came to the man. This is not the first time he asked for her hand in marriage. He was asking her dad, and he said, "No, you cannot marry my daughter unless you convert to being a Catholic," which is fucking crazy. And I get it. If you are a very religious family and person, like that's what you want because that's what you believe. Because people who are hyper religious or just very religious, like it means everything. Like you're going to die and then you're going to be to heaven in a certain way. Like every, religion has their certain things. So I understand if your parents are very Catholic, like they're going to require that your partner, whoever you're going to marry, is Catholic, because this is similar. Obviously, my fiance coming from a Mormon background, which he is not, he left about in high school, so on and so forth, but his parents are very Mormon. And obviously he has 2 siblings who are Mormon as well. And they are marrying Mormon partners. One is married, one is not. He's on his mission, but like naturally you're not going to marry a non-Mormon, which Carter's dad married his mom. And his mom was not Mormon. She converted for him. So I guess it happens, but like only if they're going to convert, pretty much. Like there's just no way, if a person is very religious, that you're going to marry a non-same religion, which makes sense because you deeply believe these things and the morals and foundation of your entire life are these things. And I get it. Like I am not dogging it, but in this instance, like depending on what the girl is, like if her parents are super religious, but then she's not, like you get to have your own say. And I feel like, I don't know, do you even want to be a Catholic still or not? Like that's something that you and your partner need to decide, but like then don't have your partner ask your dad for his hand in marriage or to give off his daughter or whatever the fucking thing is, because obviously he's gonna say no. But it goes on. She's in medical school and they pay for her medical school. Okay, so the dad denied him the first time. They keep going along, which they're pretty young. If they're 24 and 26 now, they must have asked, like, I don't know how old they were, but he came back and asked again years later, and the dad is like, no. And every time they go to talk about it, they dangle the money over her because they pay for medical school, they pay for her school, her car, everything. And she's like, what do I do? And these things are so interesting to me because number one, as parents, why would you want control over your child? Like, I just also don't understand that mentality. Like, to me, and I'm sure this is not new news, when I have children and I'm raising them, I want my kids at 18 to be self-sufficient. I want them to go to college and be able to fucking live and pay for things and clean and do chores and like be a functioning adult. You know, you learn those things in college, but like I don't want to be holding my child's hand from 18 on. Like I want them to be able to do things. Now I want them to come to me if they need help, and like if we can pay for their schooling, amazing. Like of course, hopefully we can pay for their undergrad and so on and so forth, but like I'm not going to hold that over their head. That is like a gift to them. And I just think that's so weird how parents do that and they want power over their children. Like that to me is fucked up. But if you are in a situation like that, you need to, number one, here is what I would do if I were her. I would finish medical school. Just wait to get fucking married. You don't need to be married right now if you're in medical school. Wait, finish medical school, then cut yourself off, be independent, start taking care of your finances. Like she said she could do it, but it would obviously put her in a hard spot financially because she would need to take out loans. And I get it. If you are a 23-year-old and your parents pay for everything, why would you not do that? Why would you not accept that? But it comes at a cost. Oh, I've told you guys this 100 million times. My ex that I dated in my 20s, his parents financially supported him for the most part. Like he had a job, but he needed a job because they wouldn't support him to the point of like spending or like, you know, paying for a certain lifestyle, but like they bought him a house in Dallas and that was that. And so like when you don't really have things that you need to pay, like what are you even working for? But I wanted to move and I'm like, can we move or can we think about doing this? Or like, what do we think about that? But like, we always had to talk to the parents, or we never talked to the parents because he was always afraid of them. And like, they would probably say no, like they bought him this house in Dallas. There was no way we were ever going to make decisions about anything in our life without him having to go to his parents unless he got away from that. And I'm like, I can't fucking live like this. And you know, it's a wonderful thing until it's a detriment. Like it's great that your parents help until they don't. And I think as parents, like that's your job to not do that. Like it's one thing to be there to help in hard times and so on and so forth, but if you're hindering your child, like that to me is a failure. I don't see that as a success. Successful people like paying for their children's lifestyle who are in their 20s, mid 20s, late 20s, like that's literally embarrassing. You know what I mean? So these things always kind of baffle me. And also naturally, because I come from like, you know, paying for my own things since 18, I just can't relate to it. And it's easy for me to sit here and be like, I'm not mad about it. I think I'm happy for the people that Carter got his undergrad paid for by his parents, and like people who get help from their parents. Good for you, who helped them put a down payment on a home. But like, it gets to a tipping point. Like, the people that it's then like not good, where it's like hindering them. You know what I mean? But I always find these dynamics interesting. Okay, next. I'm going on too many tangents. Okay, I have 2 more stories and these are good, so buckle up. Number 1. Am I the asshole for telling my wife we either share our lotto winnings or we separate and I get half anyway? My wife and I are extremely fortunate to have won a decent amount of money from Lotto recently. It wasn't the top prize, but it was enough to pay off our sizable mortgage and still have some left over for vacations. The mortgage was by far our biggest weekly cost, and with that gone, we could both cut back on our hours and spend more time with our kids. This was always a daydream we spoke about when we bought Lotto tickets, and I assumed this was what we would both do. When we got the money and paid off our house, everything almost immediately turned bad. My wife started talking about how amazing it's going to be finally not having to work anymore. I was blindsided by this. Even with the mortgage gone, we would still have to work at least school hours to keep our current standard of living, and on my salary alone, things would be tight. I asked if she was serious, and she said, of course, it was her ticket and she gets to decide. This is bullshit because we both bought Lotto tickets before, and when we moved in together, we only bought one because 2 seemed like a waste of money. I tried to reason with her, say she could use some of the extra to take some unpaid leave here and there, but she needs to keep her job. When I said, if I'm only working school hours, she absolutely flipped and started accusing me of being a gold digger and ruining this for her, how she deserved it after working so much of her life, etc. I asked her for a pause because I was honestly afraid. She's never been like this before. The next few days, we tried to have this conversation again, but she didn't budge an inch. And when she said, well, it doesn't matter now because I'm putting in my notice at work, I lost it. I told her that I'm not going through with this. If she's not going to share the winnings, which is under both of our names, I'll divorce her and get half through the house and therefore half of the winnings anyway. This started another screaming match where she continued to call me a gold digger. I'm absolutely exhausted and lost. I feel like my wife has been replaced by an imposter. I would have preferred not winning if I knew that this was going to happen. Oh my gosh. Oh, and this is why, folks, I think that if you get married, you all share the money and it is called our money. If Carter won a Lotto ticket, that is our money. Even if I had not a single ounce of stake in the game, even if I knew nothing about it, that is our money and that is how we talk about it, and that is how I think marriage should be. If you want to get married but have separate finances, why are you getting married? Like, I just honestly, I'm questioning you. Why is that the case? Because this is what happens, and like, it's so scary with people, like what money does to them. And I think understanding how your partner views money and their thoughts on things like this, I mean, that's crazy to throw around the divorce word, but like, it's also so inconsiderate of her to like, I'm quitting my job and you're going to keep working all of the time, which like, if that is something they agreed upon and a man wanted to provide and allowed her wife or his wife to quit her job, amazing. But that's like a choice you make together. And that's also something like, even if you didn't win Lotto money, when you are married, like if I wanted to quit my job and do absolutely nothing and stop making content, I would have a conversation with Carter. I know at the end of the day, it is my decision, but like as married people, I just truly believe like if you get married, you are a team and all decisions are made together, because like why else are you married? And you have children, like why are you both not even considering that? Well, he probably is. Why is she not thinking about her children? Like, I think that if we won money, yeah, pay off the mortgage, but then also invest that money and just like keep working. Again, like this should never have been like a I'm doing this. Like she should have never came out of left field saying I'm doing this and I'm quitting my job and I'm doing that. Like these are all decisions that if you're married should be made together. If you are married, you are a team, and finances, jobs, things that are happening with the kids, that's all a conversation and you come to an answer together. I don't think that's a crazy fucking thing to say. Yeah, I think that honestly, you think about divorce. Like if she is having this big of a reaction and is just like literally quitting her job and doing whatever the fuck she wants, she's going to have a rude awakening if you actually get an attorney and start going through with the divorce, because now she's got to split everything. She's going to have to go back to a job. Like she's not even acting like a sane person. Like what does she expect to do? Because unless you won like millions of dollars, which he said in some comments below that they did not, I just like, also she needs like a money education lesson. Like you should just invest that money and keep working. If it's like literally going to make them struggle, it's clearly not enough. Oy, I mean, I hate, like, again, I say this every fucking time. I'm not pro divorce, but like your wife is acting like somebody you've never met before and just making decisions without you. I don't know what you do. And also she's putting your kids in a tough spot. If you're saying you're going to be in a tight space, if she quits her job and you're the one hustling and grinding, which some men are happy to do, but like he said, even working how he's working would make money tight, which naturally, if you have children, yeah, kids are expensive, and a wife who's just sitting at home, oh yeah, I feel like divorce is low key the only option, which that sucks. But like, what are you going to do? Like you're just going to become resentful if he sticks it out and like she just quits her job and is sitting at home. He's working overtime and just like trying to make ends meet for the kids and for her, and she's just sitting at home. And like the way that she acted during all of it, that's always the upsetting part to me. Oftentimes it's never the thing, it's like the thing, but it's like how they act during it, and like how they just like switch on a dime, like how she didn't even consider your thoughts or feelings when deciding all of this and saying it's my ticket. Like even if Carter and I both went and did this together and we each bought a ticket, like it's ours because it's our money to begin with, who paid for the lottery ticket. Like this is why also the bigger picture lesson that I can say to everybody. And I understand that there's like this really big movement online about women having their own funds and making sure they're taken care of and to work. And I'm full in support of that and not relying solely on your husband. But I do really believe in joint finances. Like if you are separate finances, it's similar to that story I told you about, I think it was on Dave Ramsey or John Deloney, where there was a woman who called in and her husband split finances. They don't join. They split everything 50-50, their mortgage, so on, so forth, everything. They were having a child, okay? And she had decided that she didn't want an epidural beforehand. Well, push came to shove. She got an epidural, right? The bill came from the hospital afterwards, and the epidural was like thousands of dollars, and her husband was making her pay that. He didn't want to split that with her because she made that choice. She didn't have to get that, and they had decided beforehand. Like that's what 50-50 looks like in the long run. Obviously not for everybody, but like where is the line? And that's the part that gets tricky. Like this exactly. Like I don't know if they had split finances, but the fact that now all of a sudden it's hers, like I just think that verbiage and that way of thinking is so bad. Like Carter 1000% is like our money, like his salary, our money, my money, our money. Like it's the only thing that makes sense. And honestly, it has made us so much more of a union and so much more of like one, and why I think this relationship is so healthy and I feel so good about it and just like so strong with him, because everything is us. Everything that's going on in our life is an us decision. If somebody's going here, is doing doing that, is taking this job, is doing this. Like, it's us and we're deciding together. And I think it just makes us stronger. But that's fucking crazy. Okay, last but certainly not least, am I the asshole for telling my sister that she lost me the second that she even considered dating my ex, who gave me an STD and didn't tell me? I, 28 female, was with a guy called Jason, 29 male, when we were 20 and 21 years old. We broke up when I was 22 after I found out he had not only cheated on me, but knew that he had contracted an STD from sleeping around and didn't tell me. He had known about it, and he was told that he needed to speak to any sexual partners because of the risks associated with the STD to fertility, and he said nothing. I still remember when I told my family what had happened, they were all there to support me, and my sister, 27 female, was one of them. I did move on, and I met my now husband a year after breaking up with Jason. And thankfully, I was able to get pregnant and we have a baby together. But I, of course, never once forgot about what Jason did to me. Cheating was bad enough, but you can move on from it. The STD was where it became not only unforgivable, but I would have taken issue with anyone in my family even becoming friends with him after that point. But then 3 months ago, my sister came to me and asked if I would be okay with her dating Jason. Not only cheating, STD aside, dating your sister's ex, I would not be able to stomach knowing that the man I am dating fucked my sister. That is so weird to me and something I will never be okay with. Not only fucked, but like intimate with, or just like emotionally. Like, that is so weird. You're gonna date somebody that dated your sister, your blood and flesh. Not only did he cheat and give her an STD, okay, but was just with her, period. That is crazy. But then it's extra fucking crazy that he did all of that. She told me she didn't want to lose me, but they had met again after several years and she liked him and that he'd changed. Oh! He's never changed, babe. He's going to cheat on you too, boo, and also probably give you an STD. Just FYI. I walked away from my sister without saying a word, and she started dating Jason officially. Though, when she came to me like she did and asked me like she did, I would guess they had been unofficial before that point and not just friendly. No fuck. If she was coming to you, you wouldn't come to your sister if you weren't fully dating at that point. Like, if you weren't already canoodling, because like she's already in it. If not, if they had just like talked and were friends, you wouldn't bring that up to your sister. And that's how you know you're fucking wrong. It's similar to last episode. When you don't bring something up to somebody, you already know how they feel about it and that it's not okay. Those are just my thoughts. I have shut my sister out of my life and she has not been allowed to come and meet my child. The rest of my family stands with me and what I decided, but they have not shut her out of their lives, which is totally fine and not an issue for me. But my sister doesn't like that and she has tried to get in touch with me several times and has cried and asked me to hear her out and talk to her. I have run into her once since and I ignored her. She was talking to me, but I acted like she was a ghost. I couldn't see or hear. Now that's kind of badass. I don't know if I could do that. I just like would not have the heart no matter how much I hated somebody. Well, I guess if I really fucking hated them, not that you hate your sister, but like, oh, yeah, that's bad. I mean, obviously I mean, like, I've never even been close to something like this. I don't even have a sister, obviously. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. So she ambushed me at my house the other day and told me she doesn't want to lose me and she'll break up with Jason if I stop ignoring her and we can go back to being sisters. I told her she lost me the second she even considered dating him. I told her I might not have known about it in that moment, but once I heard she wanted to date him, knowing what he did to me, it was over. She's crying about it now, and our family are refusing to hear her cries about it. My baby sister, 24, told me she's trying to get the rest of the family to confront me about it, but nobody will. She does think that our sister is genuinely hurt about this, but she feels like it's her own fault, and I agree. On the other hand, I know what I said to her might still be overly harsh because even thinking about it without acting on it would have led to this, which might be wrong of me. So I'm here to ask, am I the asshole? I mean, I wouldn't say you're the asshole, but I do think that that is your sister, and I think you should speak to her. And I think that she probably does not understand the hurt that put you through. Like, even if she was there through it all, I don't think people, and anybody included, I think we all have a really hard time understanding feelings outside of our own body. Like, you can see somebody going through something, like even when somebody loses their parent or like is grieving, like we feel bad and it's heartbreaking, but like you have no idea what they're feeling inside. And I think this might be a case of that. Like, she has no idea how much that fucked you up and how not okay that was. Like, everybody knows that cheating is terrible, and giving somebody an STD without speaking on it is like so fucking terrible, and that guy sucks, right? Which is crazy that you would just date somebody that you know did that anyways, but like she doesn't deeply know what that's like, I'm sure, and what you went through. And like, even just, we all react to things differently at different points in our life, and I think if you really express it to her, and I think obviously that relationship will fizzle out as it is, but I think you just sit down, you talk to her. Obviously things are going to be peachy keen because you still harbor these horrible feelings, rightfully so. Hello. However, I think you can work on like rebuilding that relationship. It might not be perfect. It's going to look a lot different. It might not be close. You know what I mean? But I think that family is really important, and it's your sister, and she does feel really bad, and it's still a fucked up thing to do. And I still think it's so fucking weird to just date somebody who dated your sister regardless, but especially the one who gave you an STD and cheated on you. But it is your sister, and I think that you guys sit down and have a conversation and go from there. And maybe she's not willing to change, and maybe you're still hurt and you can decide to cut her off. But I think at some point, whether it's years or maybe not, it'll come around. But do what's best for you. Put up the boundaries that you have to put up. I mean, I think, yeah, like anybody would look at that and be like, what the fuck was that girl thinking? But what's done is done, and your hurt is real. And if it's going to reopen wounds every time you see her, then yeah, I would create a boundary and say like, I'm not fucking with you right now, maybe in the future, but this was really hurtful for right now. And that's that. I'm all about boundaries and protecting yourself, not making her do anything, not saying you need to do this and that and the other, nothing, but doing what you need to do to protect yourself and your peace. And nothing is worth like reopening these wounds and making you feel shitty about it and like making you feel gross and weird and disgusted. Like, keep your distance until you're ready. And I think with time, like we all, you know, with time, you have a child, you're in like a very happy relationship, and you are probably going to want your baby to have a relationship with their aunt. Maybe not. I don't know. And I think if you don't, that's totally fine. It's up to you. You do what's best for you and your family. But yeah, that's fucking crazy. Okay, you guys, that was the episode. Thank you all so much for listening. Happy Monday. Have the best week, and I will see you on Friday. Okay, bye guys.